Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And we know they are really groovy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Two Guys and a Gal Talking About Movies. And today we will be talking about Robert Duvall, whom we lost just a few days ago, as of this recording, which is in March of 2026. In case you're watching in the fall future, and we're probably in 3D now, and which is horrifying to even think about that. Or we may just be AI avatars by now, so who knows? Anyway, so Robert Duvall, wonderful American actor, born in 1931 in San Diego, California, and said he passed away last month in February of 2026. He was an Army man. He served for 2 years in the Army after he graduated in 1953. And after that, after his deployment, after his service, he attended something called the Neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater, which he used his GI Bill to do that in 1955. And this is in New York, and one of his roommates, or his roommate, was another aspiring young actor named Dustin Hoffman. So early on, throughout the 50s and into the early 60s, he worked primarily as a stage actor. And in the 60s, he started doing a lot of television. Everything that was on, westerns, cop shows. He even did an episode of The Twilight Zone and of Outer Limits. In fact, the Twilight Zone episode he was in wound up getting pulled from circulation because apparently there was some kind of plagiarism suit against the. There was a claim that that the script had been plagiarized from a short story, so it wound up getting pulled, but eventually was put back into circulation, and it can be found on I believe there's a DVD of lost Twilight Zone episodes. So anyway, and in the meantime, he became friends with a playwright and a writer named Horton Foote, who actually recommended him to play Boo Radley in one of his earliest roles, film roles. Foote had been hired to adapt Harper Lee's novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. And so he said, hey, I know a guy who could play Boo Radley, and I think he would do him well. And so, of course, they got Robert Duvall to play that role, and he was excellent in that. It was one of his best roles in that time. But he also continued to do television, and gradually, in the 70s, he started doing more and more movies. Things like, of course, The Godfather and excuse me, and MASH and Apocalypse Now, and so on and so forth. And of course, we'll talk about those as we go along. So now I'd like to bring up my co-hosts, the man of 1,000 voices, 1,001 voices and counting, Mr. Rory Penland. There he
I love the
is.
smell of napalm in the morning.
There you go.
I had to do that coming out of the gate. We can go home now, folks. He's mentioned all of Duvall's films, so we.
Good night, everybody. Well, nope.
Good
I
night.
still have to introduce our gal, the lady of one voice, but a powerful voice it is, and that is Elana Lang.
Hi. Hi, thank you.
So, yeah. So let's, unless anybody else has anything to say about Robert Duvall, some little bits of tidbit that I didn't cover. I know I just kind of skimmed over his his long life. Uh, Rory, Elana, something to say about Mr. Duvall before we jump into our lists?
We talked briefly before the show. Um, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but later in his career, like in the 80s and the 90s, he was kind of repeating himself. He was kind of doing what I call the Matt character from Tender Mercies, which was a great character, by the way.
Mm.
And so there was a couple of movies in the mid 80s and early 90s where it's just like, wait a minute, he's just doing the Tender Mercies thing all over again. Come on. But he has such a varied career and an amazing. You have actors like Peter Sellers, who will stay in the makeup chair all day long and look completely different from every character that he's previously done. But then you have Duvall, who basically looks the same, just a little tweak in the beard or the hair, maybe a wig instead of going all natural. But again, the characterizations, the performances are so varied and so fun. And again, he's played the full spectrum, and he did it well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't really have
Well,
a top 5 exactly.
okay.
I have 5 movies, and each one is on my list for a reason. So I will discuss what that reason is as
Okay.
I do each of the 5.
Well, let's jump right to it then. So
Sounds good.
what's your first movie?
Okay, so my first movie is actually a movie from 2014 called The Judge.
Okay.
And he plays Judge Palmer. One of the actors in the movie is Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
There were other people that we know and they look familiar, but Robert Downey Jr. is he shares a lot of screen time. The Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. share a lot of screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Duvall was nominated for an Oscar for this movie. I had not heard of it before, but I love courtroom dramas, as we've discussed before.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie, Robert Duvall is Judge Palmer, and Robert Downey Jr., his son, is a lawyer. So that was really interesting for me.
Mm-hmm.
They have a strained father-son relationship, and it is about the judge being accused of murder, and his son, who he has a estranged and complicated relationship with, ends up being the one who is his defense attorney.
Mm.
And it was nice to see Robert Duvall in, pretty much one of the lead roles.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was really, it was kind of different because it was so emotional, and he did have, a larger role. And Robert Downey Jr. is an amazing actor also, so the two of them worked very well off of each other. I always look up underrated movies so that I can come here with something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this movie was very interesting because you can see Judge Palmer, he made a bad decision and let this defendant go in a case with a very light sentence. And the question is, why did he do that? So we go through and then the next question is that this man appears on the side of the road dead, and Judge Palmer's vehicle has this guy who is the defendant's blood on it. I believe that was how they found it. So, he doesn't necessarily know that he did it. And you find out why throughout the movie, which I don't really want to give away. But it's very interesting, so the big overlying question is his relationship with his son and how his son is going to represent him and how they're going to have an attorney-client relationship, between father and son, and the father is the judge who's, suddenly he's looking at being accused of homicide. And he's also, the judge is pretty, I think he's in his 70s at this point. We find out, what happened between him and his son as it unravels through the movie. And we also find out, more about Judge Palmer. And it was a very strong performance, and it was nice seeing him in that kind of role, because that was something that like Rory, you were saying, we see him have a lot of similar types of roles. And so to me, I was really happy to see him in 2014 doing something that was different and so emotional, because he often
I'll be honest, by the time he started doing that, I mean, you could actually say, okay, he's entitled, because he had gotten to such a level, that he didn't have to go all out and do all the work that he did in the movies in the 70s to establish himself anymore. He was an established, actor. They hired him because he's Robert Duvall.
Yeah, it's wonderful seeing him in that role. I mean, it was very clear that he and Robert Downey Jr., enjoyed their roles, and you could just concentrate on the story and what was unfolding. And, because I am an attorney, that's so interesting to me to find out, what this judge went through, because I always had aspirations to be a judge. And can you imagine sitting on the bench and then having made this horrible decision, and you want to maintain, because it's a small town that they live in, and the judge wants to maintain this reputation. He wants to make sure that he says his legacy is intact, and he's up for homicide. So it's very interesting watching them in very, very strong performances.
So his son has to clear his name.
Yes.
So Rory, what's your number one?
It's got to be Apocalypse Now. It's Kilgore is just such a fun character. I don't care if you call it a cameo or a guest spot. It's by far his most memorable role. People quote it all the time. I quote it at the beginning of the show. Charlie don't surf. He's just such a maniac. And again, so different from anything else that he's ever done. I love him in Apocalypse Now. That is the scene always go back to in that movie. Crazy enough to play, Ride of the Valkyrie on his way into the beach. Scares the gooks. He's just such a weird, bizarre, crazy character in the middle of a weird, bizarre, crazy situation. Yeah. So I loved it. It's like candy watching him do that. I can watch that scene over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Well, it didn't make my top 5. It's a honorable mention simply because it wasn't, but
it wasn't a extremely
it was, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's such a,
but it's 5 iconic minutes of movie.
Exactly. You know, and that is the mark of just an a superior actor. I mean, not to take anything away from anybody else in the cast, but yeah, I think everybody remembers that scene or those scenes
Mhm.
with Duvall with Kilgore, and then of course the iconic line about napalm in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
Smells like victory.
exactly. And then Willard or Martin Sheen. Yeah,
Right.
he's one of those guys who go through the war without a scratch. You
Mm.
know, because it's like it's not like even serious to him. I mean, it's serious, but it's not. So anyway, all right. So my number one, going on a slightly different tack, and I think this is uh, one of those movies that I think even not even, but I think Alana would appreciate is a movie called Get Low, and this is a movie. Uh, Duvall plays his character named Max Bush, who is he's a hermit. He's a loner. He lives up in this mountain cabin away from everybody and values his privacy. He has this sign up front, trespassers will be shot or something like that. Uh, and then one day, the local reverend or preacher or whatever, he comes and tells him that, played by Gerald McRaney, comes and tells him that one of his best friends has died. And Duvall's character Bush is like, yeah, okay, well, thank you for telling me. It's like, but later on, he goes into town and he goes and talks to the local funeral director, played by Bill Murray, in just a really just odd role for him, as this. It's a funny part, but it's funny and it's serious at the same time. Uh, and at first he thinks it's a joke, because what Duvall says he wants to hire or to have a funeral, and Murray's like, okay, that's fine. Who's it for? And he says, well, it's for me. He wants to arrange his own funeral, uh, and like at first he thinks it's a joke, but then he sends his assistant. Uh, Played by a young actor, Lucas Black, who goes to see him. And no, he's serious. He wants to have this funeral there at his property. And in the meantime, he reconnects with kind of an old flame played by Sissy Spacek. Uh, and there's this whole subplot. He has this backstory where something very tragic happened in his past that drove him to isolate himself. And of course, we don't know what it is, but it has something to do with her sister, who was married and but who he was in love with. And so there's that kind of tension there, but it's a great performance from Duvall as this kind of crazy or he seems crazy, eccentric old guy who just wants to be alone, and he's dealing with this trauma of this event that happened, uh, in the days before you went to therapists and psychiatrists to figure out what happened. He's just kind of dealing with it in his own way, but he kind of starts to feel his mortality. As I said, after he learns his friend died, and anyway, it's just a great it's a good little movie, full of interesting characters. Like I said, Bill Murray as the funeral director is a hoot. And there's this great line that he has about hobo money. If you catch this movie, but anyway, so that's my number one.
This movie was on my personal list to watch because I'm a big Bill Murray fan, and also because it sounded really fun. So
Mhm.
I did not, it's still on my personal list. I'm glad that that it made it, was on your number one. It was your number one because,
Yeah,
yeah, I really look forward to seeing it. It sounded like it would be a fun movie.
it's a fun movie. It's serious, but with elements of humor in it that kind of
Yeah.
levens it up a little bit. So it's not just heavy drama. But yeah, it is a fun movie. It's a good movie.
There were two movies that I watched the trailers for that I wanted to see, but I didn't have time or I couldn't download them. And that was one of them, Get Low. And the other one was the other one that Elana Long talked about with Robert Downey Jr., the judge.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They both look like really good movies.
They
They
were.
are.
I'm
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you
sorry
have
that I
time,
didn't
you
get a
might want
chance
to
to
go
see them
back and
before the
watch them.
show.
Oh, well, if you do get a chance, I
They
recommend
might have been
Yeah.
in my list.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
recommend
watch
both of
Get
them.
Low
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Ilana, what's your
Okay,
next
so
movie?
my next movie is actually Tender Mercies, which we were
Mm.
talking about. And it was, I
That's my
believe,
number two
Duvall's
as well.
only Oscar win. And it was an incredible movie. I am not a fan of country music, and so I was a little nervous going in, but this is such an amazing movie, and the performances are incredible, and it was, he's, I believe, the lead character in this movie.
Oh
I
yeah.
would say it was the lead, and it was just so wonderful watching him do a leading role, and he did it so well. And yeah, basically what I do is I watch every movie for 5 minutes, and then I decide which ones look like fast ones to get through and whatever. And this movie, I thought I was 10 minutes in, and I looked down and it was half an hour had gone past. So, like, it was such a fast watch, and I really was
Mhm.
not expecting that. I was just really totally into this movie. He plays someone who was one of the most well respected country music artists,
Mhm.
and who's kind of washed up at this time and doesn't have money. And he meets this wonderful woman who takes him in, and they're watching their relationship is really beautiful, especially as you get to see the other relationships in the movie. And Mac, the country singer, we watch him, go from this person who thinks that he can't have his career anymore and misses it, and is depressed and feels down about everything. And we got to see him go for the win and start a new career, and it was very uplifting. It was very powerful. And as I said, it was a very quick watch. I was surprised at how much I liked it.
Mhm. Cool. Yeah. Rory, you said it's your number two?
That was my number two as well. It's his best performance. This is the movie that I was saying he comes back to this character. When he played Harry Hogg in Days of Thunder, he's basically Billy Mack again.
I
Gone in
mean,
60 seconds,
honestly,
he was Otto.
this is such a strong performance of his
Yeah,
that I'm not surprised he keeps redoing
yeah.
it. I
And
love
again, at that
getting to
point in his
watch it
career, why
the
not?
first
You
time.
know?
Yeah.
Uh, so, uh, yeah, it's a very touching movie. Again, it's got a great supporting cast, including Wilford Brimley, diabetes, and Ellen Barkin plays his daughter.
Oh my goodness. One person I was really excited to see, and this is like I don't know how many people have seen this movie, but there's a group of guys that go to visit him, and they
Yeah,
want to work with him. But the
they
thing
got a
is,
band.
really struck me as funny was, if anybody has seen the movie Electric Dreams in the early 80s, it's this movie about basically the fear of technology and how technology is just like, there's a guy that's interested in a girl, and the computer gets jealous and just turns his life upside down. And it was so funny to like watch these guys go to get Mac in Tender Mercies, and the one guy has this like icy blue stare, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the guy from Electric Dreams. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else. So that was really fun.
Well, let me.
Again, he starts to get his confidence back, and he starts writing music again, which you could tell he loves, and he plays guitar in it, and he sings, and yeah, he did all his performance
stuff.
Just is a step above what he normally does, and if that's hard to believe, but there it is, and that's why he got the Academy Award, I think.
Yeah, I was really surprised they were going to give him a double, and he was like, "No, I'm going to learn how to sing everything and do this, myself." And you could really tell. I mean, it was. I was just completely.
He did another movie in the 90s, and a couple of my friends worked with him on it. Said he couldn't have been a nicer guy. When the cameras weren't rolling, he was just a really super nice, down to earth guy.
That's cool.
And he was playing the same kind of character he's playing. It's all about music. The movie, I wish I could remember the name of it now. Sweet and Low, I think was the name of it. I could be wrong about that. No, that's the one with.
That's the one with. What's his name? Sean Penn.
Is it Sean Penn?
Yeah. Sean Penn. I'm sorry. That
was a good movie.
That's Sweet and Low Down. You might be thinking of Crazy Heart.
No, that wasn't it. It's a lesser known movie by him, but because it was very low budget. But great performance. And again, he's evidently a really great guy when the cameras aren't rolling too.
Cool. That's very cool.
So that's my number 2.
All right, my number 2 is a twofer, and this had to be on the list. Is The Godfather Part 1 and 2, The Godfather and Godfather Part 2, where he plays Tom Hagen, the consigliere to the Corleone family. And again, just a stellar performance in a cast that is just top loaded with talent, from Marlon Brando to Al Pacino and James Caan. Incredible cast, but there's just something about Duvall that always makes him stand out. And in fact, this picture that I showed earlier is him as Hagen in that movie. And you can see how young he was there. But I just think it's one of his best performances, and in a movie that is just chock full of great actors. And like I said, I mean, it's a testament when an actor can just pop out the screen at you in that mix. Oh, and I forgot to mention Diane Keaton, of course.
Yes.
In one of her earliest roles there. So yeah, I felt like no, I have to include The Godfather in this.
It's number 4 on my list, and again, it's a performance by him that's not like a caricature. It's not like a character. It's played very. How do I put this? He's the cold calculation. You can see the gears working. He's supposed to be like a lawyer in this, because he's the consigliere to the family. He knows what this family is doing. He knows everything that's going on, and he's so cold and indifferent. And but again, you could just see everything working in his mind. It's a phenomenal performance without playing a character, per se, which he's good at. He's very good at that. But he didn't do it. He went straight with this one. And again, it's all about what you could read between the lines that makes this performance fantastic. And it's a shame that the script, I guess, wasn't good enough for him to sign up for Part 3.
Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
funny.
because that was what was seriously missed, I think, in part
Mhm.
3. Is that was one of the reasons why that movie was not near as good as the first two, was
Yeah.
because his performance, it kind of, and it's funny you mentioned Diane Keaton, because they're the two people that they know what's going on with his family,
Hmm.
and they have to kind of roll with that.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
They're
and
both.
again, they both
Yeah.
do a phenomenal job of being the two people that know what's going on, but they have to kind of turn a blind eye to all of it.
Right. Because yeah, they're the two outsiders, uh,
Yeah.
and so they're looking at this from the outside. Although obviously, Hagen rather, is deeply embedded in the mix there. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Alana,
All
what's your
right.
number 3?
My number 3 is The Apostle from 1997.
Mm.
And he wrote and directed this movie. And he is the lead character. He plays E.F., who is a Pentecostal preacher. And this was a passion project for him. He was very, very interested in Pentecostal preaching. And he wanted to show true faith on film. And he felt that Hollywood stereotyped preachers and got faith wrong and wanted to correct this. And so it's on my list for that reason, because I also am fascinated with, like, so I was raised Orthodox Jewish, which is pretty like kind of quiet, like praying and stuff. And so I've always been fascinated with religions that are, bombastic, have bombastic preachers, and everything's loud, and they're screaming for Jesus to come down this second, and with the healing, and it's such an interesting show to me, and I really enjoyed that was why he made this movie and wrote and directed it. And I thought his performance, I mean, I don't know much about Pentecostal religion or preaching, but to me it seemed like an entry point into something that I wouldn't normally have an entry point into. And I really enjoyed watching him take me there. And it's a fascinating movie about, a preacher who actually kills somebody and goes on the run and starts a church. And, they at the end come to arrest him, and he just he's like, okay, my time's done, and this is my last night in church. And they give him the respect of letting him lead this last
Sermon?
religious sermon, thank you. And it was just a really fascinating movie to me. And again, I felt like because it was something that he was so interested in and that he looked at from the outside, I felt like as another outsider to this movie and to this religion, the movie helped me understand and learn things. And so I recommend this movie, and that's what made it on my list.
Cool. Yeah, I it was one of the movies that I meant to watch and never got around to it.
Yeah,
Just like
it's worth
some of
it.
the other
It's
ones.
worth watching.
Yeah,
It
I've
went quickly
heard nothing
too.
but good things about it. So cool. Well, I'm gonna have
Same
to.
here. Didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of you, I recommend it, and it's another movie that I like, Tender Mercies, that I was surprised I was just so interested in it that when I thought I was at the 10-minute mark, I looked down and the movie's halfway over. So
Yeah.
it was
See, that's when you
really,
know it's a good movie. That's when you
That's
yeah,
lose
always a good
track of
sign.
time like that.
absolutely.
It's always a good sign. Yeah. So, Rory,
Absolutely.
what's your number
And those
three?
are the movies that you watch at until the end. If you have made it to that point, like, you just finished the movie, and it's
There you
so
go.
engrossing you kind of don't want to leave, that world that you're being introduced to. And so I really appreciated this movie, probably also because I was raised very religious, and religion has always interested me. And he felt the same way, so it was worth it.
I was raised Baptist. so a lot of what we see on the screen, where they're kind of pointing out the foibles and the evil of religion.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know what Baptist is exactly. Do you want to just tell
Baptist
me?
is kind of southern religion.
The singing and
Catholic Light. This is where they actually baptize people. There's actually a
Okay.
scene in Tender Mercies where they baptize the son that he's connected with. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting
and
scene to me.
yeah, there's a lot of doom and gloom preaching, and anyway, at
Oh,
least
is
the
it this
churches
like
I went to.
it's like this bombastic like it's like this celebration of like God that shoots through you? Like that to me is just so like that is so far away from Orthodox Judaism, and it's
Yeah.
so fascinating to me.
Rory, what's your number 3?
It had to be Network. It's a great ensemble movie cast, great, wonderful cast. And it's on my list for Duvall because he plays such a tool. He is such a nasty corporate
Yes, he
jerkwad. And as he plays Frank Hackett, the appropriately named Frank Hackett, who basically only cares about, the money that's coming in from the ratings on the news shows. It's, it's all of our worst nightmare about what goes on behind the scenes with news reporting. And wonderful performance by William Holden, Peter Finch, Faye Dunaway. God, just what a cast. And he, my God, is so terribly nasty. You just hate him from the moment he opens his mouth until the end of the movie. And again, it's one of those films that I had a hard time skimming through, because sometimes I've got so many movies to watch for the show. I have to kind of skim through them. I'll go 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and I'll skip stuff. This one, I watched most of it because it's just such a good movie. It's an Academy Award winner, many times over. And there's a reason for it. It's just a really, really wonderful film. And again, he is part of that magic. He is the villain we love to hate in it. Him and William
This
Prince.
is on my list too.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, please treat yourself. You'll be glad you did.
It had fallen.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
That was great. So I was really surprised, but for me, Network kind of slipped through the cracks, and I hadn't seen it yet, and so I was like, well, this is a great opportunity, and it was perfect movie for what we're going through now. And so it was wonderful that it was, or I guess not wonderful at all, but watching the movie, it was nice that it was relevant.
But like the viewers of his news broadcasts in the film, it's kind of cathartic. We kind of feel it, and that's what's great about that film. It's like, why doesn't this happen? Because this is good. I mean, this is healing. This is, it's not bullshit anymore. He's telling the truth. He's telling how he feels.
And it's interesting too, I guess, because having just spoken about the apostle, it's almost like, oh man, I can't remember the character's name in Network, but I mean, he basically is preaching. And so it was very interesting to watch that. I might as well, if it's okay with the two of you, just, to bring up one other point about the movie, and then I won't bring it up later. This is the perfect example of what a supporting actor is meant to do. He has a very, very specific character, but I was watching Faye Dunaway the whole movie. And
Oh yeah.
He takes a spotlight and shines it. Like, he has a strong performance, but he at the same time always steps back and appreciates, the other roles, the other characters, and highlights them. And I was a little nervous because this was the first movie of his that I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, through the years I've seen movies, but like for this particular show, and I was kind of nervous. And then I was talking to my husband about it. I'm like, I hope all of his movies aren't like that. And as I was talking to it, I'm like, wait a second, this is actually like brilliant. Like, it was like a complaint at first, and I'm like, this is brilliant. This is
Here's the perfect example of that.
exactly.
In the scene where Faye Dunaway convinces him
Yes.
that they should keep the show, the new show, going with this guy who's
Yes.
obviously going through emotional problems, and he doesn't say a word. You just actually see it click in his mind, in his head. He gives a little smirk, a little smile, and he's going to go along with it.
Yeah.
That's top-notch acting right there.
Absolutely.
Again, you can read it completely. And again, like you said, he's given the focus to her in that scene for most of that scene. But what he does in that scene is just magic.
Honestly, out of all the movies I've seen in my entire life, I would say this really stood out to me as the way that you act as a supporting actor. I'm really surprised that he didn't get more attention for it. I mean, it's an amazing movie. They're amazing performances, and I guess it's like it takes you a little while to realize the genius of being able to be that good a supporting actor, because one of the things you have to do is kind of not draw that much attention to yourself. And so I'm like telling my husband I'm disappointed with the movie and his performance. I'm like, wait a second, all of these things. And my husband's like, well, maybe that's a good thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I just listed all the reasons why he is a brilliant supporting actor. So that was amazing to see.
All right. Well, let me move on to my number 3. And we'll get back to Network, as I want to say a few things about that too. But so my number 3 is Secondhand Lions.
Oh,
where
this
he
was on my list too.
co-stars. Yeah, he co-stars with Michael Caine
Yeah.
and Haley Joel Osment. Most people remember him from The Sixth Sense. And it's just it's a cool little movie. But this young boy who is sort of shuffled off with these 2 old codgers, and he learns some very, very valuable life
One
lessons.
of which is played by Michael Caine.
Exactly.
I love him.
And they're both great. And like you said, Elana, Duvall could very easily have stolen this movie from both of them. Not to say that Michael Caine is a lightweight. I mean, he's not. I mean, they could have easily stolen the movie from each other, but they didn't. They're both equally powerful. Just great performances from both of them, and you can see this just deep and abiding friendship between these 2 men who couldn't be different. And I just love Duvall's character in this. And there's a scene where he takes on this group of these rowdy kids, these teenage boys who think they're big and bad because they're young, and he teaches them a lesson of manners, and just beats the living snot out of these kids, because they think, oh, he's just an old man or whatever. Yeah, he teaches them different. That you don't mess with old men because we don't care anymore. So yeah, it's just a wonderful movie. Haley Joel Osment, and I think this was he was coming off of The Sixth Sense, and still
It was a few years after. Yeah.
a few years after, and he was already getting a little bit older, and you could definitely see that. But he's very good in it. So yeah, if you haven't seen Secondhand Lions, I highly recommend this movie. It's there's a lot of other stuff going on in this plot with these two guys, but it's a good movie, and that's all I got to say about that.
So the two movies that were on my list that I didn't get to see, but that I wanted to see, both made it into your top 5. So
Well, there you go.
I'm excited to watch those two movies.
Good.
What was your number 4, Elana?
So my number 4 was Network, and I think I said,
Okay.
I appreciate that you both let me discuss it, after you did Rory.
And my number 4 was Godfather 1 and 2, so we can skip to
Yeah.
Just go straight to
his
our
number 4.
All right. Well, my number 4 is a terrific Western, and it's Open Range with Kevin Costner. And yeah, it is one of those roles that Rory was talking about, where he's basically playing, the same character that he played in Lonesome Dove. They just changed the name. But so what? It's like he said. I mean, he earned it. He's earned being able to play those characters, and he plays it well. He plays it so well.
Did Costner direct that one?
No.
No.
Well, yeah. Honestly, I don't remember.
No.
I mean,
I can see Costner saying, "Just do the character you did in Tender Mercies."
Exactly.
and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. He directed that one. But he did. It's like Clint Eastwood when he directs. He doesn't give himself. He allows the other actors their space and their time, and their between him and Duvall and Annette Bening, and it's just a terrific movie, terrific Western, and just wonderful characters all the way around. There's a young Mexican actor named Diego Luna. One of his early roles after Y Tu Mama También, which is a great movie in itself. But anyway, so yeah, that's
it's funny you mentioned Annette Bening, and I've always wondered, Warren Beatty and she, I think, are still together after decades. And they got together right after Madonna, which I think was a kind of a setup thing. But I always wondered, a man like him, and believe me, I've had a female friend of mine say she saw him in a bagel shop in New York, and the minute she saw him, she just wanted to rip her clothes off and jump
Warren Beatty, right? We discussed about
that. She goes, there's some charisma that's there.
Yeah.
That just women are so attractive. He can have any woman in the world. I'm like, what is he seeing in Annette Bening? And then I saw Mars Attacks and her performance in that, and I go, you know what? She's probably a lot of fun. When she's not in front of the camera, she's probably a ball to hang out with. She seems like a really fun person. So that's probably it.
Yeah.
I just had to say that.
That's fine. Yeah.
That's funny.
And
story because I remember I was like, I don't know what he's doing, and normally I'm immune to it, but I am definitely such a girl right now.
Again, here's another real quick story, and I may have told these before on the show back to back because it's the same kind of thing. There was a tornado that came through Central Florida here, and Bill Clinton flew in on the helicopter Air Force One, and he's in khakis with a bomber jacket, and he comes off that Air Force One, And I was working at a community college, and all the young girls there, when they saw him step off that, like you would have thought he was a rock star because they all went, yeah, just freaked out. There's just something there. He's got some kind of charisma or something that this girls just, they just like, they go for that. And again, it's the same with Beatty. I mean, no matter how old he is, the girls are just like, oh, wow, and it's amazing to watch that secondhand, on the outside looking in.
So, Elana, what's your number 5 then? Since we're
Okay,
moving
so
on.
my number 5 is The Paper from 1994, and it's directed by Ron Howard, and Robert Duvall plays Bernie White, who is the, I guess, executive editor of The Paper. The movie also includes Michael Keaton. Shout out to Michael Keaton because he's from Pittsburgh, which is where I live. We all love him in Pittsburgh. He's a big deal for us. It also has Glenn Close in it, Marissa Tomei, Randy Quaid, among other people. This also is a supporting role for Duvall, and he actually kind of highlights parts in the movie. So he kind of brings like a warmth to it, because there's one scene where he is watching to the people that work for his paper, one that works for the paper, and then who is played by Michael Keaton, and then his wife, who's played by Marissa Tomei, and he's watching the two of them have dinner and be in love and stuff. And so he really does a great job, again, in a supporting role, and kind of, drawing more attention to what's happening in the story, and with the cast, as an ensemble. And it's interesting also to watch him have such, again, well, I guess in The Judge it was emotional, but it was a different kind of emotional. In this movie, he's more just kind of like the proud father of the people that work at the paper, and the paper doesn't have, a lot of money, and the paper is kind of, laughed at, and but they're a family at the paper, and it's about how they are trying to release a news story. And I really love this movie, so again, I don't want to give this movie away, but it's very exciting, it's very thrilling. There is a difference of opinion between Michael Keaton's character and Glenn Close's character as to which story they should run for their front page for a certain release night. And so they're up late trying to collect one story, and they're they just get it in time, and you're so excited, and you're watching them run, and again, this is just a very engrossing movie, and a quick watch, and a wonderful example of Duvall highlighting the performances around him.
Rory, what's your number 5?
5. It's hard not to see Larry Linville when you think of Frank Burns in MASH. But the original Frank Burns in the movie with Elliot Gould and Donald Sutherland is Robert Duvall. And he is so wonderful in it, because again, he is meek and kind of nutty, and it's just such a quirky character in Duvall's hands. And again, that carries over. Yeah, that's a testament to Linville, whom we lost actually several years ago, playing the character on TV for 11 years. Or no, it wasn't 11 years, because David Ogden Stiers came in and did Charles Emerson Winchester later.
Right.
But for probably half the run of the show, maybe 6 years, 7 years, um, it's a testament to him that he can, kind of make the character his own after Duvall had played it.
Mhm.
But yes, it is fun to watch him as Frank Burns. They carry him off in a straitjacket at the end of the film.
Mhm.
So it's a wonderful performance. I had to put it on the list
Yeah.
because it's so different from all the other stuff that he did.
Yeah, it's one of those, and again, as I said earlier, he he is so brilliant in his characterizations and his roles that he just stands out. I mean, we remember Frank Burns from the movie. I mean, yeah, Larry Linville was great on the TV show, but uh, the way Robert Duvall played him in the movie was just the subtle hint of madness. He was kind of he was the holy roller, and always very, he forced the young Korean boy to pray. He was teaching him English with the Bible and all that, and he was just horrified at the antics of Hawkeye and Trapper John, the other two characters, and of course his illicit affair with Hot Lips, played by Sally Kellerman in the movie.
Yeah.
That
That's a testament to Loretta Swit too.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
the entire cast
The whole
actually.
cast of the series being
They
able
were
to
able to, recreate the magic with a complete different set.
exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So my number 5 is Tender Mercies, which we already talked about, but I want to shout out to Betty Buckley, who played Dixie,
Okay.
uh,
Ex-wife.
Duvall's the ex-wife, who still has a career and who went on, but there was this very acrimonious divorce between them, and caused Duvall not to see his daughter, played by Ellen Barkin, for so many years. But he kind of brought it on himself as a hard drinker, as an alcoholic. And yeah, he's saved by Tess Harper, who plays his wife, or the woman he eventually marries.
Tess Harper is really one of the reasons why that movie works so well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you talk about a performance where she really doesn't say a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but just emotes,
For what she does
yeah.
say, yeah.
volumes. Yeah.
And there's a scene where Duvall has kind of run off in a way, and he's going from bar to bar, and because he's just feeling like, yeah, his whole career is in the dumpster and all this stuff. And she has a young son from a previous marriage, played by Alan Hubbard, named Sonny. And of course they're worried about it. They keep cutting back to them, and
Is
they're
that
waiting
the
for
same
him.
kid from Kramer versus Kramer? I kept looking at him and saying, yeah, he's older, but I think it's the same kid.
He may be.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking in my mind. Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But anyway, so they're worried about him. They're they keep, every time a car drives by, they're like, oh, is that him? And she's talking to the boy, and kind of making sure he's okay, and and he finally shows up. He tells her, I'm not drunk. I bought a bottle, but I threw it away, and all this stuff. And she just says, well, are you hungry? Can you, there's no hysterics, no, where have you been? No. She just like, okay, all right, he's home, fine. And they have a really nice moment together. But that's what I love about this movie, is that there's no real hysterics about it. They don't really go over the edge, even though they could. Well, there's a couple of moments of hysterics with Dixie, with Betty Buckley's character. She's very, she's a bit of well, not a bit. She's definitely a narcissist, and it's all about her, and and all this stuff. But yeah, Elana mentioned the young man in the band, the
Yeah.
The guy
with the
from
blue eye,
Electric Dreams.
with the guy from Electric Dreams. His name is Kenny Von Dolan, and he is from Texas. In fact, he's from the town where I lived.
Oh wow.
He's from here, from
Wow.
Victoria, so he's a local boy.
Look him up.
And
By the way, the kid is not the same kid from Kramer versus Kramer. Sorry.
that's okay.
Tell him he has really piercing eyes, and he was really fun in Electric Dreams.
Yeah, he's the Von Dolans they had an auto dealership here for many
neat.
years, and he went off to Hollywood and made a few movies.
That's very cool.
Unfortunately, I believe he's passed away.
Oh no,
Oh man,
that's a shame.
that's a shame.
Make sure that
Yeah.
I may be wrong about that. No, yeah, he passed away in 2022
Aw.
after. But yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So I just wanted to mention that since Elana brought him up.
Oh yeah.
That, he's a local boy that went off to Hollywood.
That's really neat.
So yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick comment about what you were saying. I really liked us getting to see like what kind of relationship Mac and Dixie had as opposed to what his current relationship was, and why. I mean, it's just his current relationship, like that there are rules, but it's just really easy between the two of them, and you can see like it was totally opposite than the way he was with Dixie.
Yeah.
And it was very, you immediately understood where he was.
I saw that Dixie had a lot of jealousy. That was what I saw. Busted everything up, broke everything up. Probably drove him to drink.
Right, that's what I was thinking. But then I'm like, if
yeah,
be an alcoholic, like you're going to be an alcoholic. So
she's one of those people that you're not going to amount to nothing. Yeah, you're going to throw it all away.
I understand where he was then. I understand why he was like beating himself up and why he was, and then there's just this woman now and she just has open arms and it's easy. It's like, oh, thanks for telling me. I appreciate you. They respect each other. They have such a different relationship. He can just speak to her, totally flat, honest, about his daughter, and everything is like understood, and it's just really it's very telling about
one of the most telling lines I think in the movie is after something very bad happens to the daughter, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen this movie. And he's out in this little garden that they have, and he's hoeing the ground.
That was exactly the scene I had in my head.
Yeah, and she goes out to talk to him, and he does most of the talking, and you can tell that he's grieving and that he's dealing with this with this loss. And he says, I don't trust happiness, and I never have. But she stays silent through everything.
Yeah, she like understands.
She just lets him talk. Well, because she had lost her husband in Vietnam.
Doesn't take it like she's not defensive. She's not like, oh, aren't you happy with me? You know what I mean? She's like, this is heavy, and I accept, where you are, and I embrace where you are.
Yeah, and she doesn't give him any platitudes or anything. She just lets him be. After he has his says,
like totally
she walks off. Exactly. She's all like, "Why did this happen to me? Why did God do this to me?"
Oh my God!
Made it all about her.
I wanted to punch her in the face. Why did God do this to me? It's like, are you done?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we've given enough hints that yes, that the character dies uh, in the movie. Uh,
Yeah.
the daughter, Ellen Barkin's character.
Well, great. Now the big shock is ruined,
I,
guys.
I know we spoiled the big, like we didn't see it coming, unfortunately. But anywho, so let's move on to our honorable mentions. I think Elana, you said you probably don't have any.
No, I'm
Are there
done.
other movies that you want to mention before we do that, or?
Go ahead, Rory.
I'm going to blaze through this list as quick as I can. Was very surprised that he was in some movies I didn't even realize he was in. That's how good of an actor he was. Because I've seen these movies years ago, and then I realized, oh my God, that was Duvall. In Bullet with Steve McQueen, he plays a cab driver, and he has to take Steve McQueen around the same route that he took the guy that's killed in the movie, who's a witness. So that McQueen can kind of put things together. And he makes so much of that little character. He's memorable. He's a taxi driver, but he's memorable as that character. There's a lot of potential there. And I think everybody saw it at the time. True Grit. He plays one of the main villains in True Grit, Ned, a cowboy named Ned. Nasty Ned, as I call him. He's nasty looking, nasty. Guy comes to save him and he gets killed doing it. And Ned shrugs it off. I mean, he's just nasty. THX 1138. He's the title character. George Lucas saw the potential. Yeah, he's the star of that movie. George Lucas saw the potential.
I saw that.
Oh, that was your dog.
Yes.
No, that's not my dog. Is that?
It's mine. It's my dog.
Dogs. Oh, okay.
My dog. Yeah.
My dog's asleep.
Another nasty cowboy in Joe Kidd, Clint Eastwood movie. The Killer Elite. I had never seen this movie. I'd seen pictures from it and seen scenes from it. Never saw this movie. His character is a bad guy. He's not that great. It's not an over the top performance, but it is so fun to watch this movie where James Caan takes on ninjas and he's on a cane and he's winning. And even better than that, Burt Young from Rocky. Hey, Rocky, you're not gonna give me anything. I'll give you my sister. Burt Young takes on ninjas and wins. Just to see that, it's worth a watch. The 7% Solution, he plays Dr. Watson. Performance is overshadowed by his dialect coach.
Yeah.
Same problem with the next one on the list. Wrestling Ernest Hemingway, he plays Walter, a Cuban, as opposed to Jonathan Harris's character. It's a great movie. It's a good performance, but again, I was so aware of the accent, and it's just it's not as bad as like Al Pacino as Scarface, but you're aware of it. Sling Blade plays Carl's dad. That's right, in my pepper. World's Greatest Dad. Oh my God, so nasty. And The Road, he plays the old blind man in the movie The Road. Great performance. Yeah, it's a cameo, but it's a great performance. I'm not going to call these dishonorable mentions. I'm just going to call this a waste of talent because he did a couple of movies. One is called The Outfit, where he and Joe Don Baker play these guys who kind of like do heists. And I just feel he was kind of wasted in that. Even worse, excuse me, my gosh, where did that come from? Breakout, which is a Charles Bronson film. He plays a guy that's in prison and they got to break him out. And he's so wasted. There should be a lot more going on there, but there isn't. And anyway, those are the two films where I felt he could have done more. They could have got more out of him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I think it's a director's choice. I think they just didn't realize what they had.
Probably, yeah. All right. Well, my where'd it go? I lost my list. Give me just 1 second.
Good night, folks.
All right. Well, we already really mentioned a lot of these already. To Kill a Mockingbird.
There you go.
one of his early roles. Apocalypse Now, of course. The Natural with Robert
Yeah.
Redford.
I forgot that he was in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Natural, where he's this, again, kind of a nasty sports writer in that one.
Mm.
THX 1138, George Lucas's first movie. MASH, we mentioned that, Network. And even though this wasn't a movie, so I'm cheating a little bit, but Lonesome Dove is just a terrific
TV series,
TV movie, TV
miniseries
with Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee
and,
Jones.
Yeah.
That was his own favorite performance, so I think it is definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah.
It is a good performance. It is.
It's a great performance. So anyway, so that's my list. So we pretty much covered all the ones that we saw there. All right. Do we have any documentaries that we want to talk about?
Sure. I've been watching a bunch of them. I think the one I'll talk about is a little silly. Let's see. There is a documentary that I saw about America's Next Top Model. And I watched the first couple seasons and then stopped watching it. But for anybody that watched it at any point, it's very interesting because, it paints Tyra as not a very, very likable person.
Yeah.
But more important,
That's the word in the industry.
Probably the thing that is the most important about this documentary to me is that, because I'm an attorney, is that we have friends in, our through Cosmos and through Social Distancing Fest who are interested in doing shows like The Voice. And America's Next Top Model was meant to prepare or open a door for these women to get the ability to actually become models. And, like in The Voice, if you win, you're offered basically a deal in order to do your work. Or so you think. And this is probably the thing that drives me the most crazy about these shows as an attorney. And just really important to carry with you if you think about doing one of these shows. A lot of these shows are set up so that if you win, you are actually entering yourself into a situation where they own all of the information that you have. So let's just use The Voice, for example. So any kind of music that you've ever done, they want ownership of. It is in the contract, and you can't really bargain it away. And you're kind of stuck in a limbo if you win one of these situations, I'll call it, because they promise you a contract, but there's certain ways that you're handled because you were on reality TV, and especially in the early days, like the first number of seasons of America's Next Top Model, and they do discuss this, they don't really know what to do with you, and just because you won this show, like, they have to go through each episode and have a story and make it worth watching and make it interesting. So they're not actually picking at the end somebody who necessarily could work at, a modeling agency or work at, as an artist for a record label. That's maybe not what they're looking for. So you believe that you're getting into the situation where you are opening all these doors when really you could actually be closing the doors for yourself. And one of the reasons why Tyra looks so bad is because she went into this trying to open a door for models and then she learned about how these models were being treated afterwards. I mean, they basically just hung out in the modeling apartment, being charged through the teeth to, live in the modeling apartment, not being sent on shoots or anything, because they didn't actually have a real portfolio, because the photos that are taken are sensationalized photos that you actually cannot even put in your portfolio. And again, this is the same thing with music. So they own all of your directory of songs, and maybe you're not, you could have a contract somewhere, maybe those aren't songs they're interested in, maybe you don't fit what they're looking for, and you're kind of thrust upon them. So you're entering into a situation where they're like, oh, okay, we have to take this person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's really important. I think people need to know to use, if you really want to go on these shows, go on, get your, 15 minutes of fame, and then make sure that you bow out, when the top 20 is called, because, you don't want to win. I mean, honestly, as an attorney, I don't think anybody wants to win this. I mean, you seriously are forcing yourself, you're being forced upon, and you are putting yourself in a position where you're forcing yourself on these companies that are not going to use you. And, a lot of people from America's Next Top Model, they tried to stay in the industry and they ended up, being bankrupt and having to go home. And it's the same thing that, happens on The Voice, or happens on, any other show like this. You have no leverage. You basically have to sign the contract, like, while they're watching you. So you can't necessarily call a lawyer, have a lawyer go over it. I mean, the contract is completely against you. And, so this documentary really tells you this is not what, we thought the first year it came on, I think was like 2004 or something. That is what they said was happening is not actually happening. And, I think a lot of people know that at this point, but it's important to know what kind of situation you're getting yourself into. And I think that this is a documentary that's worth watching because it has all of these elements, and because it was one of the first competitive reality shows. So you can see what happens in the situation easiest with this show, because is the first show that it happened with, just because it was so I think the next reality show that was similar was maybe a couple years after. So yeah, I think anybody that wants to do a reality show, it doesn't matter which documentary you watch about them, you need to know what's happening. And this is perfectly illustrates the pitfalls, I'll say, of being on a show like that.
Interesting. Rory, do you have a documentary?
I do. It's a 2015 HBO documentary called Jinx, The Jinx, the life and deaths of Robert Durst, who was accused of possibly killing his wife, Kathy Durst. Again, she had a lot of money. He had motive. And Susan Barron and Morris Black, who were two people that worked with him that evidently knew a lot of things about him, and then just ended up accidentally dying. But they were suspicious deaths. I found out just now when I was just checking my notes that there's a second series that's come out. I saw the first one, the first documentary series, which I think was 2 or 3 parts. And in the last few minutes of the last episode, they get him, he goes to the bathroom and he still has a hot mic on and he doesn't realize it. And he says, okay, so there it is. You got caught. What are you going to do now? I mean, they catch him actually basically confessing, saying, you're caught. What are you going to do now? It's an
Wow.
amazing documentary on, how this guy most likely killed these people and got away with it. I think he's gone now. I think he died himself,
Yeah, he did.
natural causes. So again, he basically did it and got away with it. So it's an interesting documentary. The first one, the second one I haven't seen, so I'm not sure how they could rehash.
It'll be interesting.
But I might look it up and see if I can watch it and see what new stuff they came up with.
Jinx
Cool.
is pretty much for any people who are into true crime documentaries.
Yes,
It's a
which I
must
am.
see. Yeah, it is a complete must see. It is on, everybody's top 10 list, and I don't want to give anything away. I mean, if you know the history, great. If not, watch it. It is worth seeing, just because the cases are interesting and because the documentary itself is very well done.
Well, I think what's most interesting about it is you pretty much feel all through it. Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
And why can't they prove that he
Right.
did it? Because it's pretty obvious. Circumstantial evidence is very obvious, but no, I don't think they ever got a conviction on him.
See, and that's very interesting to me too. And I'll get back on my soapbox after I just stepped off. I don't tend to follow. Okay, so when a true crime case is being discussed in the media, they sensationalize the hell out of it. And that's one of the reasons I don't usually pay attention to those kinds of cases, because everybody has an opinion, and everybody has an opinion that has nothing to do with how the law actually works. So yeah, I understand I'm on a soapbox. But one of the things that is very interesting about, the Jinx and a number of other true crime documentaries is the fact that, you do get frustrated because it's like, well, why can't you prove it? And it's like, well, because you don't take things to court where there is a ton of reasonable doubt, and so it helps you kind of get more of an understanding of everybody's angry and up in arms. Why can't they prove it? And it's like, well, they don't have enough evidence. They don't have maybe the prosecution didn't do a good enough, like there are a number of reasons. Nobody's really like, the whole world is not being railroaded, and the life is not tragically unfair in these cases all the time. Like, honestly, it's like chess. You have certain things that you have to do, and you have to build a case in a certain way. And I think a lot of these a lot of true crime documentaries, they kind of skip over that part. And so it is really wonderful to see true crime documentaries that delve more into that and let you see what is the case that they actually do have, because you don't just go to court with a case because it's fair, So I think that it's also really a good documentary to see for that purpose.
Good. All right. Well, real quick, my documentary is called Batman and Bill. And this is almost a must watch for anybody who's a comic book fan and a Batman fan in particular. It's about a man named Bill Finger, who actually wrote the first issue, or wrote and co-created Batman, along with Bob Kane, who was the artist. But Bob basically worked out a deal which pretty much excluded Bill from getting any of the credit. And for years, every credit was always given to Bob Kane for creating Batman. Even though it was Finger who brought him the initial idea and who even drew a sketch of what the character might look like, which or Kane later kind of refined and changed, and it became the image that we now know of as Batman. And so the documentarians decided to look into it, and there was this well, word got out, that Bill wasn't getting the respect and the credit that he was due, and so there was this organized campaign to finally get him credit. And even though Bob Kane fought it tooth and nail, eventually they took it to the studio and specifically to Warner Brothers, who was producing releasing the Batman movies.
Mhm.
And finally, with I believe it was not the with not the Dark Knight series, but with Batman versus Superman,
Mhm.
that he was officially given credit in the credits. Batman created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. And like I said, it was a hard won fight. There was a lot of resistance at first, a lot of back and forth, and like I said, Bob Kane wanted to take full credit for creating Batman, and really did everything he could to be a roadblock to getting Finger his due. So it's a fascinating documentary, and it's almost a bit of a detective story in a way.
He didn't want to
And
split his residuals.
exactly, it was all about the
Mhm.
money. It came down to
Yeah.
money. So anyway, so like I said, if you're a Batman fan, you're a comic book fan, uh, this is definitely a documentary that you wanna see.
It's interesting because each one of these documentaries that we've mentioned, they are at their heart, the same thing. So even though, I mean, they all are discussing a legal based thing. So I mean, it's interesting because whether you watch the one you watched, whether you watch the one Rory watched, or the one I watched, you can actually learn about these different industries
Mhm.
and how things are handled from these documentaries. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
not just for people who like comic books or into Batman. I
No,
mean, this
that's
is
that's true. Yeah.
actually you know seems like a very interesting
Yeah.
documentary from a legal perspective as well.
It is. It is. And of course, Kevin Smith was one of the champions who rallied behind Finger and to get him his credit. He put his uh, reputation and
Mm-hmm.
his weight behind it. Uh, and oh, I wanted to say this about going back to Network. Uh, Patty Chayefsky, who wrote the screenplay, he knew what he knew. He was an insider because he had been writing for television
Mm-hmm.
since the 50s, and is credited with being one of the best TV writers ever. So he knew the industry
Mm,
inside and out, and that's why there's such an authenticity to those
yeah.
characters. I mean, it's slightly. He said, "Well, it's reality, but kind of made it a little bit more surreal.
Right,
It's not
which you know.
exactly like this, but you believe that this is definitely how the industry works.
Right, which you know.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. What you know.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. So
What are we doing next time?
next time we will be talking about a wonderful comedian that we also just recently lost, Catherine O'Hara.
Nice.
So we'll be doing talking about her movies, her career.
Wonderful.
So join us in a couple of weeks for that. And in the meantime, there's plenty more to watch here on Cosmos Creative. Uh, There's Roland Pruitt's Big Kaiju Review, or Kaiju Review, and the Big Monster Briefing Room. That's on Thursdays. No Icing with Sandy D and our own Rory Penland, also on Thursdays. Kaiju Reviews on Tuesdays. And of course, this show. And they're all archived on YouTube. So if you've missed an episode of this show or any of those shows, head to YouTube, look up Cosmos Creative TV, and you will find them. There's playlists, there's shows.
Also, look up anything Dennis Tardon.
And also, exactly, anything
Yeah.
with Dennis.
Which is part of the Cosmos Creative
It's also
TV.
part of the Cosmos Creative, and he has his own.
And his own brand.
And his own brand as well. Tardon TV Network or something. But another very talented interviewer and producer of shows as well. So plenty of stuff to watch. And so until next time, keep watching movies.
Thank you for watching this episode of Two Guys and a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell